First time.
I'll give you 3. All right, call the April 22nd school board meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag for the first time is in front of us and behind you guys. So. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll start off with the agenda tonight. Can you get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion approved.
Second.
Been motion first and seconded. Any discussion on the agenda items? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we have an approved agenda. Now moving on to comments and suggestions from the citizens. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the board? Keep in mind we have 2 public hearings on specific topics tonight, so. All right, now we get to move to the students that waited to the very last minute to come and fulfill their civics assignment. So if you, and I see that all of you chose to sit in the back. The excitement's up here in the front row if you want
Extra
to
credit.
move up. Extra credit. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. It's a
Sorry, not sorry.
very, very boring crowd here tonight. All right, so if you could go through and stand up, state your name and who your teacher is, please. And your favorite subject, because that's about the quickest answer we can get. We'll start with you.
My name is Keegan Panther. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and then my favorite subject is math.
My name's Addison Greer. I'm a junior, and my teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is English.
My name is Ryan Latcher. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is English.
My name is Gabby Anderson. My teacher is Mr. Marmion, and my favorite subject is physics.
Okay.
My name is Cole. I'm a junior. My teacher is Mr. Marmion, and my favorite subject is physics.
My name is Dylan Leonard. My teacher is Sean Marmion, and favorite subject math.
My name is Carter Dorr. I'm a junior. My teacher is Mr. Marmion, and my favorite subject is probably psychology.
I'm Ben Daly. I'm a junior. My teacher is Sean Marmion, and then my favorite subject is math.
My name is Sarah Oswald. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is human anatomy.
My name is Abby Burkle, and my teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is math.
My name is Avery Poole. I'm junior. My teacher is Mr. Marvin, and my favorite subject is English.
My name is Natalie Ogden. I'm a junior. My teacher is Mr. Marvin, and my favorite subject is English.
My name is Wade Riggs, and my teacher is Mr. Marmion. My favorite subject is math.
My name is Lucas Fenn. My favorite subject is math, and my teacher is Mr. Lenz.
My name is Jack Gomez. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is government.
My name is Noah Flannery. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is government.
My name is Brandon Vasky. My favorite subject is math, and my teacher is Mr. Lenz.
My name is Ruby Atkins. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is math.
I'm Meredith Carlson. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and my favorite subject is math.
My name is Elizabeth McCary. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and I like math. My name is Ellie Scott. My teacher is Mr. Lenz, and I like science.
I'm Adrienne Twig. I'm a junior. My teacher is Mr. Marmon, and my favorite subject is history.
Thank you, everybody. Good job answering. I didn't expect anybody to have civics and government to be your favorite class because you're here at the very last time. So I doubt that you're all favorite, math is your favorite subject, but we'll just stick with that. All right.
Afterwards, you can just, anybody can sign up when we're done.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
discussion on any of the items on the consent agenda?
I just wanted to give a shout out to Katie. This is her last meeting.
Yes.
We're gonna miss you a lot, and thank you for all you've done for us.
I add to that, Katie, you've been wonderful here, and we appreciate all you've done. You came into the communication director role not knowing much in terms of what is expected, and your talent and skills were phenomenal, and you really set the bar. So we appreciate all you've done. We'll
Thank
miss
you.
you. But we know it's another great opportunity for you.
You still have to approve my resignation.
True, we haven't done it yet.
Well,
we'll get there.
Hold off for next time.
There's further discussion to have.
Oh.
No, just joking.
Want to talk about one resignation? No.
Yes.
We won't.
I think you'll still go. Any other discussion on items in the consent agenda? All right, hear none. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. Katie, it's official now.
Be free.
All right, we don't have any recognitions tonight, and now we have 2 public hearings. So for the first one tonight is on our 24-25 school district budget. So Jill, I guess we'll open the public hearing, and then, so it's open. So Jill, do you want to explain?
Yeah, I can. I just thought I'd highlight it quickly because
Yes.
we've talked about it several times. But we're looking at next year's school budget. SSA is 2.5%. The tax rate is at $11.86 per $1,000 of assessed valuation. District-wide revenues are at $57.8 million with expenses at $76.6. The difference is because we're spending down our bond proceeds. And then we'll balance our general fund budget through the negotiation process and working on the line item budget. And we're working on that now. So really, we've seen this multiple times, but this evening I'm asking for board approval of the budget, and then we'll get the information sent to the Department of Management and the auditor's office.
All right.
Make a motion to approve the.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Not
yet?
Hold that right there.
Okay.
So right now, is there anybody that would like to have input for the budget for next school year? All right, not hearing any, I need a motion to close the hearing.
I move that we close the hearing.
All right, all those in favor of closing the hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, now we're into board discussion. Is there any discussion that we want to have? Anybody wants to say anything on the budget?
I would just say that I think we've been very fortunate with the way the funding has come through for us for this coming school year, and especially with the extra, I don't want to say taxation, the amount of money that we're getting from Amazon and Sterilite, or because of their building in our school district. So things have worked out very, very favorable for us, and I think that's shows kudos for us, and it helps us with our Vision 2025 as well. So.
And Jill, thank you for taking all the time to explain this to us and go over it several times, because some of us need that, so thank you.
And you've had a couple curveballs thrown with you with the recent legislation too. So.
Yeah. I think
Thank you.
it behooves us to say that there really has been, we've done a lot of things here, and you've had to mitigate through a lot of things, and you kept things very healthy in our finances. And I know you reach out to the appropriate resources for any kind of assistance or help. And I'm sure people reach out to you for advice because of your stature and expertise. But we really do thank you for keeping our district very solvent and, again, financially healthy. And so we can do a lot of these things. We're in a great shape, and thank you for all that.
Any additional discussion?
Yeah, just thanks, Jill. There was things that you didn't know, right? We didn't get the information until last year to make some contingency plans or try to plan for the worst. So a lot of different things that makes sense. I think this year was quite a bit different. Yeah, than any time before. But as always, you to it and make it formal, explain it to us and help us. Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
We'll make the motion to approve the 25 budget.
Second?
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. You assume no additional discussion, so we'll do roll call vote on this one. Joni?
Dittmer, aye.
Lindemann, aye.
Pratt, aye.
Kepi, aye. Kirkfeld, aye.
Eckhart, aye.
Would I?
All right, we have an approved budget for next year, Jill. I'm sure there's not gonna be any changes. Just joking.
Well, legislative session is over, so.
Not for a while. All right, moving on, we have a second public hearing for the high school track resurfacing. So, Joe, I assume you're gonna explain that one.
Yeah, so we have to have the public hearing, and so the timelines, which have already started and actually end tonight on a later meeting, to accept the bids on the resurfacing of the track. You know, the project was due to the fact that we were already coming to the life's end and the amount of wear and tear with the machinery going across it. Instead of spending $20,000 or $30,000 to do repairs, we're gonna resurface the whole track, so.
Okay. So now we'll open the public hearing. Is there any input from the public on the high school track resurfacing? Must not have any track people in the audience tonight. Do we have any track? Anybody run track? Wow. All right.
There's a meet tonight, so.
That would be why. So.
And it's all running.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, it's been motion seconded. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, now into board member discussion. We have any questions, comments for Joe? Staff
Joe,
on this
what,
one?
we're doing the whole complete track, correct?
And the high jump surface.
And the high jump, and we're doing it in black because of the cost.
Black, but except with the recommendation, except the alternates, so the exchange zones are in red.
Okay. And we're just doing the high jumps area, which is at the south end of the track. The north end of the infield is gonna be turf.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Great. Any other discussion?
8 lanes all the way around?
The same track.
And this, I guess, Joe, this will be done before track season next year.
Correct. The reason we're approving it now is to have it done in July as soon as the turf is put in June.
I guess one question I have for you is that I know we have a fat timing device, and because of all the construction, it probably was disconnected. We're gonna reconnect all those things.
Yeah,
And that's gonna be running up to the new press box then? or-
Correct. Yeah, all that's in the design.
All right.
Is a contingency plan 10% for this too? Is there a contingency?
This one doesn't have, it's just that is the bid for the
Oh, it
track.
does-
There is no
doesn't-
contingency, it is,
You
they'll
don't
come in
think
and
we'll need one
resurface
at
it.
all?
What's that?
You don't think we'll need one?
No, by the time, I suppose there's a potential when they scrape it off if there was some breaks we didn't know, but they've already walked the track and all the indications that would say, hey, you're gonna have a base problem are not there.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose I shouldn't say never, but there's no indication that would be, that we're just resurfacing it. Kinda like the tennis courts we've done, we knew what the cost
We
was
knew-
up front.
and we
Yeah.
knew integrity of the ground and all.
Yes, I mean, I suppose the potential, like I said, they walked it and already saw it. We won't know until they scrape the road up to know, but, you know, they build those roads not to impact the tracks. We're not anticipating that.
So we're just scraping the rubber off.
We're
to
just
get to the
scraping down to the
base.
asphalt. We're not, this is just a resurface, not a full, you know, where you have to get into the soil or anything, no.
So we won't know actually where the road is right now. If it'll be impacted until.
Correct, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Any additional discussion on this topic?
Funding is coming from the.
From SAFE for this one, Jill?
Um,
It could also come from the GEO bonds, because it could be
It'll
considered
come
part
from
of the
GEO
Lancer
bonds,
Stadium, so
yeah.
it'll probably come from the GEO bonds.
Okay. Right. No Hearing no more discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the track resurfacing project.
So moved.
So, second.
It's been moved and seconded, so we have to do a roll call on this one too. Joan?
Dittmer, aye.
Lindemann, aye.
Pratt, aye.
Kepi, aye. Bergfeld, aye. Eckhart, aye.
Would I?
All right, the project is approved.
So that was item A, I know we're under new business, which was confusing that we put it there. I just want to reassure that's Fisher Track at $208,511 plus $21,893 for the alternate bid, just so it's in the record.
That's the same company that did the last one.
Same company that did the last one, yep.
All right, moving on to bills. Jill?
Thank you. This evening I have $2,802,831 worth of bills presented for approval for payment. There's a payment to Climate Engineers for $586,418. That bill, along with another up to $1 million, I did go ahead and code to get reimbursement this time for the State Career Academy Incentive Fund grant, the state grant that we got. When I pay the bills, I can code them against the bonds or our grants, and I want to make sure I use these up for this fiscal year. Then there's a payment to Industrial Steel Erectors for $346,915 for the Regional Innovation Center progress payment, and $200,000 of that will come from our SCRA grant for round 1 and round 2, and Katie's working on applying for another year's worth of that before she goes. They guaranteed up to $500,000. And then there's a payment to Iowa Testing Programs for $9,208 for this spring ISAPS testing fees.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
This motion seconded. Any discussion on the bills? All right, all those in favor of approving the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, bills are approved. We have no committee reports tonight, and so we're moving. What?
We should have done during consent agenda introducing our new high school principal.
probably should have,
I
shouldn't
know.
we?
We're getting all confused with so many students here.
I
Just threw us
know,
off.
I know. All right.
Andrew, would you like to stand up?
Hi, I'm Andrew Lane, entering my 18th year of education next year. I'm excited to be here and continue the academic and extracurricular excellence that you guys are known for. So my wife maybe was here when you guys were here, Family Consumer Science. Maybe she wasn't. Maybe that's the seniors should be in. But we're glad to be back in the QC here shortly and look forward to July 1 to hit the ground running. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for driving up from Cardinal today.
Yeah,
and
no
so
worries.
we appreciate it. Andrew has, tell me if I get this wrong, 4 years of coaching. Besides teaching, you coached teachers for 4 years.
TLCS and Davenport, yep.
1 year
Instructional
Sam,
coach, yep.
2 years assistant principal at Atumwa, district slightly bigger than us, and then now 2 years at Cardinal Belden.
Welcome again, sorry.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
Once this thing gets going, it's kind of hard to
I hear you.
stop. Yes. All right, we're done with the committee reports. Now junior high presentation. Chad, thank you for hosting us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for bringing in the extra seats for the students.
So full disclosure, I did work with Mr. Lane in Davenport. So yeah, we taught together at West High School and then again at Smart.
Taught me everything I knew.
About all that.
So this is a live stream thing, so that
Oh,
the can.
so I just dove in front of that. Guess we'll stand here.
I was gonna say, do you want,
You just tell us where you would like us.
sure? Either that or back there if you wanna be able to see
Yeah, we
your
can do that.
own, and then I can sort of turn it this way.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the junior high. So first of all, introductions. My name is Chad Jones. I'm the building principal here at the junior high.
Eric Luters, I teach 7th grade world studies.
Andrew Dovek, instructional coach, and this year I'm teaching one section of 8th grade math.
Ashley Dospelair, teaching 8th grade math with Dovek this year.
All right, in our presentation, we're going to focus on, we titled it Using Data to Drive Instruction. So we're going to talk about how we utilize student achievement data to pretty much do everything we do at our school. and we want to talk about how we're responding to that data in regards to the systems and structures that we have here at the junior high.
So our agenda tonight, to kind of spotlight some of the things, we're going to talk about the structures in place at the junior high, our focus of professional learning at the junior high, the PLC process, how data drives instruction, and then the MTSS Boost system we have in place. The structures we have in place at the junior high, the PLC process, so professional learning communities. We're grouped together grade level and content, so 7th grade social studies, 8th grade math. We meet every other day. We go through the 4 questions of the PLC, and that will be touched on in another slide. But we really look at student data to help us make informed decisions. So we look at CFAs, which are common formative assessments, and we look at ticket out the door information. We try to gather this evidence of student learning to help decide how instruction is going. Boost is the other structure we have in place at the junior high. It's a 3-week cycle. Students are selected based on their data. So as we look at student needs, we start making selections in our PLC process. 1 week is guaranteed that student is staying in that classroom for 5 days for intensive intervention for the student needs or for extension. If a teacher feels that, hey, the student needs some more additional help, they can hold that student up to 10 days to provide the necessary supports that the student needs. If not, the other 2 weeks are flex. And so that allows other teachers and other content areas to be able to pull that student to meet that need. Usually it's not as specific as that 1 week, and it's something that can get taken care of in a class period or 2 to kind of help get that student on the right track. So what are we doing with the focus of professional learning? So we have teacher-leader learning through the instructional leadership team. And so we really focused on increasing the frequency of which we're collecting that data from students. So we're making informed decisions that are specific to student needs, looking at that data. So that was a huge one. The other thing is we share our learning and experiences of best practice that we're doing in our classroom to help facilitate how we bring that practice to other staff members to help facilitate the conversations to improve student learning.
Just to provide one example of that, Ashley's actually with us tonight, and she's one of our teacher leaders, and we have our new audio enhancement system, which comes with a camera. And so what we asked Ashley to do was be the first person to use that camera to show how she utilized student data to put together small groups in her classroom and then work with those students on those targeted skills. And so Ashley did it. It took, what, 2 tries maybe?
You have to have the microphone on the whole time, otherwise it turns off. So the first time didn't record audio, so we learned.
Yeah, so Ashley did that, brought it to our staff PD on a Wednesday. We viewed the footage of that. Ashley we did like a debriefing with her. And the whole point is we're trying to remain like focused on the fact of it's not about I feels, it's what is the data telling us about the students and making sure that we're making adjustments to our instruction based on that.
We've also done some extra PD where we've sat in the library as PLCs and we're looking at that data in a group. So we're all in here together. It's time that we spent to analyze data, have those conversations about is it a misconception, is it an error, are they just going too quick? We've also had the 7th grade team pilot some peer observation. So they have our form that we filled out. We're walking through classrooms, doing some open invites like, hey, today I'm going to do some small groups. If you want to come check it out, here's some periods. And yeah, like Chad said, trying to use those cameras to see how those transitions look, how it can go in different classrooms, because it might look different in mine compared to how it looks in Eric's.
Who's all in the library when you're doing this?
It was all of us. So we had the math PLC 8th grade and 7th grade. We had our teachers that have electives. They collaborated together. We had ELA. It was all of our junior high teachers. It was awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good segue. So our PLC process, our professional learning communities, it really boils down to 4 questions. The first 2 that are in white up there, what do we want students to learn? And then what evidence are we going to collect that students can or can't do it yet? And then the questions up there in yellow, we call those questions 3 and 4. This is really the action behind it, and really where a lot of the conversations are happening within our PLCs to talk about, okay, so based on this evidence, Ashley talked about potentially some trends with the data. common misconceptions, things of that nature. What are we gonna do? What kind of opportunities are we gonna give students that haven't learned it yet or haven't quite hit proficient? And then also, question 4 sometimes is a little bit tougher, but what do we do with those students who already have it? And we can push them forward and give them a different opportunity to maybe further their learning that we don't necessarily do in the Tier 1 classroom setting. So yeah, that's the conversations that Ashley was talking about. Those are happening on A days here at the junior high as well during their PLC meetings, where checking data, sharing different ideas to give all of our students the best opportunity for what they need at that moment in time.
And I would say a growth area for us as a school is to continue pushing our students that are already there, so we call those enrichment opportunities. I think as teachers, it's much more comfortable when we're working with students that we're trying to get to proficiency, but then also having those opportunities for students that are doing everything that they need to do to be able to do some fun activities and learn even more about the subject. One example that we had was our band. Our band brings together the 7th and the 8th graders. The 8th graders are a little bit more skilled because they've had another year of instruction, but they learn a piece of music together. It's really nice to see students that are achieving also being pushed as well. And so we want to make sure that we're focused not only on the struggling learner, but also pushing those that are excelling too.
So how data drives decision making? If you look up there, it's kind of small, but it shows over the course of a standard student learning based on each student individually. So if you look at that over the course of the standard, students were learning. And as we look at that student data, we make decisions. Do we need to pull them into Boost because they're struggling in this part of the standard? Do we take them and put them in intentional small groupings so we can extend students that are getting it already, but also meet the needs of the students that are struggling at that point? So if you look at it, there's a better slide, but there are points where I will take students based on this data and work with them in class in intentional small grouping to meet the needs immediately. If over the course of the standard they're still struggling, that's when Boost is utilized to really help support those student learning.
Eric, if you can, I mean, there's a number of colors up there.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Because
I know you know it.
Yeah, if we go to the next slide, I think it's a little bit bigger. So students will get asked a question. I'll teach a lesson, I'll ask them a question, 1 or 2, and have them answered at the end of the lesson. And so that is a way for me to collect student data immediately and see how effective my first time teaching this lesson was for those students. Some get it right away, some struggle. And so when I looked at that overview of that standard, I've learned a lot from collecting that data. Sometimes students just need additional practice before I even intervene. And so having that data over time has allowed me to really refine my instruction and continue to look at, hey, sometimes students just need practice. Sometimes once a couple rounds of practice, if they're still struggling, that's when I need to step in. And if I can meet them in the classroom right away, I can alleviate that, provide confidence for them, and really impact student learning. And so it's just varying degrees to understand where that student is at that point, based on the lesson I'm teaching that day.
So we want to see more green up there than
and so that's a great, yeah, over time I want to see more green. But initially, that first time they're learning something, I'm okay with wherever it's at.
Sure.
That first one is an intro activity. Let's see what they know just off the cuff. And now where do I need to take them based on what they know at that first point. And so then some of that data from like that standard or other standards I've taught in our PLC, we'll sit down and we'll talk through that evidence and say, what are we seeing in student learning? What are the misconceptions? Where can we pull these students for Boost, and what do they need supporting most? The picture, the graphic on the right is intentional small grouping. So based on one of those, after several practices, hey, these are the groups I want to put students in. The green, those students had something that could stretch them a little bit in their learning on that standard. The yellow and the blue, that was groups that I made sure I went to work with to meet whatever need they had that I identified. And so that's easy to respond to student learning immediately in the classroom.
So these things that we're showing right now, that was part of our PD process with our staff this year. And so in October, and then again in February, we hit it again. We just wanted to show different ideas, and our teacher leaders, kudos to them for taking this on and stretching themselves, but sharing this and saying, hey, this actually, when you break this down and look at the students and see their progression of learning, it creates an environment where you're quicker to make groups and identify like where the struggle points are with the students. So these are the things that we've been sharing with our staff, having them try these things too in class.
Does this go across the school? That's why I see Booge and there's you here. Is this for everybody, or is this only certain areas? Does everybody use this method?
So yeah, that would be, what you just saw was Eric's in the 7th grade social studies. Now the different teams, you're gonna see Ms. DeWispelair is gonna address the math component to it. So.
Yeah, mine's a little different. I don't use spreadsheets. I'm not a spreadsheet person. I'm a sticky note person.
You
I'll
teach
pull.
math?
Right, and I don't use spreadsheets, but I do like color coding. So like we got some. So for mine, I actually really like Google Calendars to be super intentional about our dates. With our Boost system, it is locked in for those first weeks. So if we're collecting data and pulling our group kids, we don't want to use data that was 2 weeks old or 3 weeks old. We want it to be as recent as possible. So I'm really big on making sure our dates and our data is collected as close to that date we are picking kids. So we want to make sure that the most recent data is being used. And then for my Boost slide I put up there, that was a reteaching opportunity that I did with my cycle. I typically do the Math 8 support groups, so it's all of our students combined together. So Mr. Dobek puts kids in my class, Mr. Harrison can put kids in my class, so we take all of the 8th grade math students, and they are the students that have the most misconceptions or the errors. They need just a little bit extra help. It's been really nice this year with Mr. Dobek also teaching 8th grade math. We can do Boost together, so there's times that he comes in and we're doing small groups, 2 different activities, but it's the same standard as a piece. So for this slide up here, we're currently working on exponential patterns. So we had some kids that just were really lost on how can we write this equation. So those 4, we're working on just writing. Then we had another group that needed some extra practice just graphing. And students that were just continuing, sometimes they just need extra work time. Sometimes they just had a missing assignment. They're just hanging out, getting that math support as needed. So it's kind of intentional small grouping in our Boost system. So it's grouping them almost twice in a way.
At the end of the day?
Correct, yep, the last 30 minutes.
So Ashley beat me to it, but a big part of our MTSS process that I've really been lucky enough to see it from a coach's lens, but also now back in a PLC with my own, my own class and students, is it really does feel as if it's our students and not just, well, this is these are my students and these are Ashley's students. So when I get to sign those students up for help with Ashley, I can see immediate results the following day or the next couple days because of that 30 minutes of time dedicated to kind of like unraveling some of those misconceptions and really trying to get at the root cause of why a student would be not quite yet proficient. And so that's one thing that as a coach and now in the classroom, I've had all these conversations, but now when you actually have your own data, it's really been a powerful experience for me, and I hope for our PLC and all of our PLCs at the junior high. And as Chad mentioned earlier, I think there's definitely a growth area to continue to look at how do we continue to extend students as well, because we do have a lot of students here that really do an incredible job and catch on to things very quickly. So I definitely think as we move forward, that would be a good thing to focus on. But yeah, the entire MTSS process, all the way from planning really intentional and really great opportunities at the tier 1 level for all of our students, but then also being able to have that instructional agility to be able to pull small groups and to get students exactly what they need when they need it.
So all of that takes time, a lot of time, and a lot of collaboration. Molly, you mentioned the fact of, or asked, does everybody use that type of script? No. We are trying to get everybody comfortable with some type of system, whether it's a checklist, whether it's sticky notes, whether it's a Google spreadsheet. But the whole point was, let's get away from that I think, or I feel, or I'm not sure where the kid is, to really drill down to it. But to do that, it takes a lot of time. So we wanted to take this opportunity to thank you.
To thank you, it does take a tremendous amount of time to go through that and plan those things, and having that time is essential to that.
So,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that you kind of tied it all together and had helps us spread the story with the Friday early outs too. Everybody's always like, well, teachers are just leaving at the same time students aren't. Like, no, they're doing just what you showed us here.
that's a snapshot. Absolutely.
I have questions, but I can save mine to the end. Does the board have any other questions?
So you said that you can place students in your boost. Can students place themselves in if they're struggling?
During the flex week, students might request like, hey, I want to come get some extra math support. So that's kind of like the advocacy skill that we're trying to build with them. So they can ask, but they can't automatically like sign themselves up, if that
And
makes
then
sense.
like you said, the first week's usually pretty intensive, but they might even pop between more than one teacher.
Not until week 2 or 3.
Week 2 or 3?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay, that's a great resource for the kids. Thank you for doing that.
And sometimes it's even just the, hey, does anybody want to come to Boost today? And it's a little bit informal if we're getting ready for a test, a study guide, stuff
And
like
they kind
that.
of like to get reassurance that they're doing things correctly or they're up to speed or whatever. So yeah, that's me.
Any other questions?
I would just like to ask, I mean, some of you have been here for a few years, and you've watched kids go through it, and it sounds like what we're doing is very, very good. What's the biggest change that you see that you've done? Pre-Jones to now Jones. I'm just, you know,
Can I take
hopefully
this one?
it's beneficial. I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you're
Yeah.
talking to us.
No, that's-
We're his boss.
We haven't finished evaluations yet, just to
It's a great question. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, I think going from classroom to now many classrooms, right, is being super intentional about what we're teaching and then how we're collecting that evidence. So questions 1 and question 2. That seems to be much tighter across the PLC. So for instance, if Ashley's kids are taking a test, my kids are taking the same test on the same day. So there's a lot of that kind of inter-rater reliability. And then also too, Ashley and I and our PLC, we have many conversations about getting like calibrated, right? So if a student's got this level of understanding, we feel comfortable about that. It's not just someone's handing out, great scores and the other person's way too hard. So I think there's been a lot of growth in those areas, no doubt about it. So those questions 1 and question 2 has been a big change. And then through that process, to make things more efficient, we've been talking about being efficient and being effective. Tests don't have to be these huge, like crazy things. We can get data from a number of different ways to help us from one day to the next day to the next day.
Because those 4 questions have been around for years.
Yeah, we're trying to get better at all 4 of them, no doubt about it.
Andrew, did you
Yeah, I can
decide to
work with
teach a class because there was a need for one section, or did you seek it out because you wanted to get back in the classroom?
I would say it was a combination of multiple things. We always have a coach that's in the classroom at the 7-12 level. And the opportunity was really good for us this year at the junior high since we seemed like we're busting out of the seams. So I kind of jumped on that opportunity. I'm very glad that I did. It's been a great experience, and I definitely miss teaching, right? Missing yucking it up with kids in the class every day, and interacting. I have a few former students in the crowd today, so. But yeah, taking all those conversations from the coach lens now as a PLC member in it has been a extremely awesome opportunity. I'm very thankful for.
I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to bring that out, because that kind of was underneath the radar a little bit. I think at the secondary level, it's a once every 3 years, our coaches, we want to get our secondary coaches back in the classroom for at least one class.
Yep, it's at least one every year. I know Tim Riley's helping with the Bridge program at the high school as well, but yeah, so it's like once every couple years. I don't remember exactly what the...
I can't remember that, but
yeah.
But it's not required, right? TLC didn't require that. That's something our coaches brought up. And our elementary TJ, they always have a intervention group, so they do it somewhat too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been an awesome opportunity.
Very good. Thank you.
I appreciate the fact that I know you guys all get along, but just the teamwork aspect of it. Obviously, it takes a lot of coordination and interpretation of each other and just continuing to work together. So I think that's awesome, and really appreciate that. And I know it trickles down into the kids too, and everybody being kind of cohesive, so much appreciated.
Anybody else? All right, I got one question. So you have all this data, and you have different ways to do it. Either you know, put stuff in a spreadsheet, or use your post-it notes or anything. How do you incorporate the context, like the why? Why is the student like not meeting the standards into all that? Because it's one thing just to see the data and like know I have to do it, but there's, you know, all of our students have, you know, home life and other things going on outside that may affect or impact all that stuff. So how do you incorporate all that context into how you approach your...
It takes time, and it takes practice. You know, we talked about that earlier. That time is essential to be able to sit down and talk through what we're seeing in the student data. When you have the evidence right in front of you, you can start seeing trends. Hey, this is a misconception that's happening across the board, and so you can address that. You can't do it alone. That's why professional learning communities are important, because you're talking with other people. You're asking, hey, are you seeing this in your data? Here, look at mine. What do you think this is coming from? And then what do we need to do with the instruction to meet that need? And then you start seeing, hey, we need to front load more information at the start of the unit to help students feel confident moving into the actual standard. And so you start seeing things that you can do to change your instruction to meet those students' needs over time.
Sure.
But it takes a lot of professional conversation, trust, and working together to be able to do that.
And the first thing that came,
yeah,
the first thing that came to my mind was conversations not only with the so Ashley and I get to have conversations all the time about, hey, did you we'll share each, student evidence back and forth, and oh, do you see this? You see that? And then once you start to get more comfortable with that, then that's where it leads into some of the action piece. So the data it's a huge part of it, but it doesn't have to be a super long, drawn out process. Then we can start talking about, what do we do now? What's going to be best for all these students and how to move them forward.
The big thing is making students feel confident in the areas that they're learning, and if they're struggling in that area, responding to what their need is makes them feel confident, and it increases student learning. So whatever we can do to help students feel confident in the content, that's what we need to do.
So you're in the PLCs, does it go across? You have the English, you talk from English classes and stuff. I mean, so if you recognize a student as an issue in both your classes, and maybe it's more of a comprehension issue. I mean, is that so? It's you guys communicate, but is this really more of the communication happens when you said everybody was in here? Is it across all subjects?
It can be. We also do our interdisciplinary teams every other day. So we PLC on A days, and then we meet as a 8th grade team and a 7th grade team on B days. So if I'm noticing hey, I pulled this kid for math support 3 times in a row, do other people need him, or are they struggling in English? Is it social studies? Is it just math? We do have those conversations once we kind of collect that data and we answer way data and all of that together.
Sure. Is there anything else you need from us? Board?
We're only giving you one early out week.
Now, is there?
Those Friday early outs are incredible.
Glad that you guys can do something.
Well, somebody said relationships, and these are 3 prime examples of strong relationships with students, and I think that's step 1, quite honestly. But then just continuing the message of letting the data drive us and support the students where they're at.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I love your passion. You guys want to stay.
I'm escorting them out right now.
Thank you very much.
So we have no old business tonight, and then we did the public hearing.
You did. That's what you did.
We
You
already
approved
did.
the contracts. You already did.
Perfect. All right. 10A is already done. All right. Moving on to student-built home bids. Mr. Simmons.
Hello. Just have one tonight. Steve's Mirror and Glass. They donated the shower door for the house, so we've got a price for some mirrors and some shower doors that's not half of what it would cost us if we tried to go to Menards and buy a cheap shower door. So just that's one. That's the only one.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, James.
Great.
That's a donation of $1,581.
Wow.
Thank you to Steve's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
They were eager to.
say when the awards night is.
May 20th at 5 p.m. You'll be getting some invitations here very soon for the Steubenville Home Celebration. That's May 20th at 5 p.m. So we hope to see you all there.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Yes, we do.
I move that we approve the bid for the Steve's Mirror and Glass.
Second.
Okay, it's motion second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the bid to Steve's Mirror and Glass for the Steubenville Home, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
James.
you. We'll see you May 20th, if not before.
Yep.
All right, item C now, the IASB membership dues.
Yep, it's our annual dues for 24-25 for $10,103. Looking for approval. Again, it's our for board. It's the main professional development we have. We use them for financial assistance. We also use them for our board policy. So it's a very important organization to us.
I motion to approve. I second.
Okay, it's been motion second. Any discussion? I did hear, and I'm going to steal it. Frank, since you're a very active member, do we get a discount on this?
Yeah, I
Tracy
get
and I
to
are
attend all
whispering
this.
Okay.
Things free, so it doesn't come out of our budget.
All right. All right, any other discussion on, I echo what Joe says too, that the sitting on the policy committee, the primers that we get are very helpful and gets us a jump start.
I would just say that
Policies as well.
the IASB has worked real hard. We had 2 school districts that were not members for a number of years, and those 2 school districts came on board this year. So now we have 100% of the school districts on board with the IASB for the first time. I don't know, first time. So that's, and the IASB is always looking to do things for school board. So if there's something that you feel there's a need for, let me know or let them know, and they'll find the material for it.
All right. Any other further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the next school year's IASB dues, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Yeah, we did. Regional, so we're on to change order 3, the regional center.
Yeah, the regional center. This is for Reagan Mechanical. It was dealing with our sewer. We had to go down much deeper, so they had a lot more work to do. And so it was an increase to their contract by $40,000.
And we also had the wrestling facility sewer, right?
That's a different one. That's a different one. Yeah,
We got a lot
yeah,
of sewer
yeah,
issues.
yeah.
Two sewer.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, is there any, I guess first I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, it's been motion second. Any discussion on the change order for the regional center? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the change order to Reagan Mechanical, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes.
I sent this to you, but I ran off copies too for the next one.
Okay. And then up next is the furniture bid.
All right, so I sent to you guys earlier in the week was the furniture that we're looking at purchasing for next year. What's so different about this year is because of the amount of furniture we have, we've decided to put it all together. Before, you would have hardly seen any furniture purchases because the building did this, and then this building, and then this project, and so it was not adding up to where we could get a bigger savings because of the regional center. Because of the redoing the central office as the 2 big ones, this adds up to a significant amount of money. All of them have already been bidded out for state purchasing, but because we belt it together, we go up to a different tier. And so it's gone through the bid process that way. And so looking for approval tonight for $539,137.59. Again, the 2 biggest ones out of this is the regional center and then the central office. And then you will look on the final column on the right-hand side. That's where the money would be coming from. It comes from multiple sources. So building funds, that was carryover. Anything they didn't spend by March 1st, we will be putting into furniture purchases, which principals typically do. And then the flex account, which we transferred earlier in the year, was intended for furniture. And of course, then you have the GEO bonds or the Pebble that are part of projects that will go through. And so we'll place all of the purchases in the proper categories that they need to be paid from.
I had a question, Joe.
Yes.
I'm just curious why Alan Shepard's furniture is coming out of the building flex when like Neil Armstrong and the junior high is coming mostly from the GL bonds. Because
Alan Shepard, we already purchased for the new,
Oh,
that
got
has
it.
not on here.
That's just
already
for-
been done.
this is normal-
This is his
normal
normal
stuff.
purchasing.
Okay, thank you.
Correct. Good question, though. That we'd already purchased for Alan Shepard before we did this.
Gotcha.
The furniture's all sitting there waiting to be put out in the next
Okay.
week.
Great.
So, yep.
And Joe, you said the state already has like a
State
like
already
a,
did.
like a menu item. basically,
Correct.
right?
The state already did a bid process, so on items like this, on our lights, on our football fields and things like that, we can go through state purchasing, then you don't go through the bid process, because it's already set
So you
by the
save some
state.
money.
You save
Yeah.
money automatically, but because, again, we bulked it all
Yeah.
together, we're able to get to the next tier.
Okay.
The other thing is Eric, who we've worked with for years, also started his own company, so he's obviously very aggressive getting his own company, working with them himself versus being the middleman. Eric has done most of our furniture purchases in the last few years.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the furniture bid as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and seconded. Any further discussion on the furniture purchase? All right, all those in favor of
Sorry,
approving?
just one
Oh,
question.
sorry.
So we have the manufacturer. Who are we bidding? Who's Eric and who's the, is this a?
Eric Eckerman is it's his company, so he's the party that orders all of it from the companies that are bidded out. You typically go through a Sandoff broker.
Yeah.
Purchase agent.
Yeah, and they come in, so like he spent, I don't know how many hours with our office staff, because it's pretty complicated, right? You need somebody who's been in the business, when you think about futures, things like that. He'll meet with the principal and say, now what are you looking for? Okay, here's some options you can do, because that's what he does, so. Yeah.
So some of it's for the new space, some of it's replacement, some of it's remodel, but it's really, we pulled it together.
Yes, we just put it all as one to try to maximize our spending power. Yep.
Thank you for the breakdown, Joe.
Yeah.
And Joe. All right, all those in favor of approving the furniture contract, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, furniture is done. Moving on to superintendent's report.
All right, just a notice ahead of time, May is the board recognition month again, so just kind of give you a heads up on that. Vision 25, we are shooting for the week of May 10th through the 15th to do the Alan Shepard ribbon cutting. And so obviously as each week goes by, we get more comfortable with that, and so hopefully we don't run into anything else. And so at least we'll get to use that space for a couple weeks. What we're planning on is somewhere that week where towards the end of the day, we'll do a ribbon cutting with the students there, and then we'll do an open house in the evening. And so we're still working that out. Welding, if you drove through the high school parking lot, you see the bricks going on the outside of the building. That's looking really nice. Demoing continues on the inside. They'll start pouring the floor in the new addition, so that space is really coming along. If you drove through there again tonight for Lancer Stadium, you'll see that the actual stadium was delivered today. And so now they need to hurry up and roof that building, which they were slated to do this week anyway, get the shingles on it, because I saw the crew who put together the stadium. They were there tonight laying out their pieces in order, so they want to get going with that. So that's exciting to see that going on. The Regional Innovation Center on the north side, the walls are also being drywalled at this time. And so again, if you want a tour to go in, you can really see how it's taking shape there. We are having an issue with the other side because the amount of rain and snow that got in on the other side and the unstable soils and what that's going to take to fix that problem. But they should be done with the roof in the next few days, hopefully before the forecast shows rain like every day coming up here soon. And so we need to get that done, but things are moving along there. Junior high and high school, before you leave tonight, if you want to pop out, look outside the back door, you can see that the foundations are going in here. So that work's going on, and at the end of this month, Chad, they take over the band room to start demoing it and getting that set up. So they've been willing to give up, the entrance could still be an emergency exit, but they obviously won't be able to come in there, and then I lost 40-some lockers that they've had to accommodate full to.
On this end.
On this end.
So will they wall off those doors then?
They will put a gate up, or put
A
a chain link
temporary-
fence up, or it's not really a chain link fence.
So when does that start?
May 20th.
After the band concert.
After,
Okay.
yeah, no, we strategically picked the
That's
date.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And the band, Nick and Ashley, they're willing to, they're gonna, pretty much their home's gonna be the small gym.
Okay.
And it's, you know, it's gonna be a tight window, so anything we could give them extra was gonna help us. And then the utility work and foundations is mostly at those two sites. And then the wrestling, the girls' part of the wrestling room, and the one I call the girls' wrestling room, is already drywalled. The drywall's up, and it's really changed. They're working on the inside, and they're in the big process of replacing all the sewer right now. So that's the big stuff happening there. Legislative session did end on Saturday or Saturday morning, like at 2 or 3 in the morning. There is some more money for open enrollment, but the TSS did not come, which would have made it a large chunk of money. I think we calculated maybe $40,000 more income next year on open enrollment. It's PD and early class size reduction. Those are just the two categories they added to it. They did add the deadline in for open enrollment for March 1st, starting July. So I'm assuming maybe July 1st is this year's open enrollment. I want to see that get clarified. I'm not sure about this year, but next year will be March 1st. And next year, if a student who's open enrolled is declared habitually truant, they have to return to their home district. And so that was also added in the law. That all happened that
What's
last
the
day.
definition? What's the definition?
Well, they changed all that. It's 20%.
20%, not 10?
Yeah, it's 20%. It's a lot. Anytime they hit 15, there's a whole new procedure that they wrote into law. If you hit 15% in a grading period, and then there's all these steps you have to take. We've also told the county attorneys now what they will do. Always doing a report to DHS, or DHS if the kid's habitual truant. So they're trying to add more teeth to kids going to school, making sure they're there. So there's a bunch. Hopefully Margaret will have out her final thing to us here soon, and we'll get it out to all of you. But those were the big things that really happened on the last day for us. High School Musical, I went to it Sunday. If you get a chance, if you haven't seen it, you don't get a chance. I say this every time because I always think, man, I'm amazed how talented they are. Holy cow, you will regret not going. They're just that
And we
talented.
have a number of the staff, or the cast right out there.
It was
Raise your
phenomenal.
hand. Stand up.
Phenomenal.
Who's stand up? Let's
Stand up.
Stand up if you're in the music.
Good job, you guys.
Phenomenal job. So, if you haven't been to it, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday still, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, and there is a dinner one. And then, that's all I have.
It was good. I second that. Great job, guys.
Amazing.
Any questions for Joe?
Dates for wrestling room, are we still for?
It's two, because of the school, probably now the second issue, unless something really picks up, but the wrestling portion. But the lot, yeah, everything will be done about second.
Oh, so they must be from long.
Yeah, they are, they're moving on. Yep, yep.
All right, thank you, Joe. Any board comments or correspondence?
Well, Joe, what award did you get the other day?
I did the Bandmasters of Iowa named me Administrator of the Year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was very well.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't have an
deserved.
instrument in your hand.
What
Well
instrument?
You're too humble to bring it up.
They may not, yeah.
Thank you for all that. and we're
Thank
lucky-
you.
We're lucky to have you with us.
I had the opportunity last week to go to Ames with about 31 FFA high school students and about 20 junior high, and just appreciate the hard work and effort that those students really put in to competing. There's multiple different teams, not just leadership skills are they're gaining, but career skills as well. So it's pretty fun to hang out with those kids from North Scott with about 6,000 other kids from around the state that are their names. So they took over Hilton Coliseum and the Sheeman building, and then they were in the Union for some competitions and Fisher or Stevens Auditorium, and then also an off-site Hanson Ag building. So they take up a lot of space when they're there. So it's pretty exciting.
Cole Wessel won
He was a star for the ag science, so yeah, he won the state award for
won the
that.
state award.
Yeah.
So Shane and I went out and were able to be on stage with him. That's it's rare we get one. In fact, he might have been our first one.
Yeah. Yeah, first one.
Wow, first one to win.
Good, Iowa State does that.
Anything else? All right, I'll entertain one more motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
We can sign. You can come up, we'll sign your paperwork.
Why'd you say
I was exactly an hour.
How are you?
Why? What about him?
He'll be sent back to me.
Thank you.